The Boys is one of the best and most unique superhero TV shows we've had in a long time. The mixture of violence, political themes, and sexual kink in a story that throws the superhero genre upside down, making the superheroes the bad guys, and that boasts some excellent characters and plot, has made The Boys one of the most popular TV shows of recent years, and now it has a spin-off. Gen V's first season is now out, and it has taken the world by storm, or at least a significant portion of the internet. I am terminally online, so what do I know about the real world? Now, The Boys is one of my personal favorite TV shows in recent years, and so I was very excited for Gen V. However, spin-offs don't always do great. Oftentimes, studios will want to make additional content for one of their big money makers in between seasons or mainline movies, and so they just hire some people to quickly make some sludge and sell it as a full product. Some spin-off shows are very good though, and I generally trust the people in charge of the Boys universe, but I was still on edge. Would this show succeed or would it fail? And I can quite comfortably say that Gen V absolutely succeeds. And this could have been just another cheap cash grab to profit from an already popular show, and I was worried that this would be the case. However, Gen V both stands on its own as just a good show, and it also works really well as a spin-off within an already established universe. I mean, the cameos from characters from The Boys are always fun to see. They're integrated well, and it's not just some big, hey look, here's the guy from The Boys. Did you see him? Are you looking at him? Isn't he great? No. Seeing the deep Ashley and Soldier Boy, among others, showing up in commercials or at campus or in memories even, just adds another layer of depth to the show and to the world. I mean, it makes perfect sense for these important people within VOT to be connected to the VOT school. Some of the characters even have significant roles in the story, like Victoria Newman. And this also allows for some creative ways of answering some questions from The Boys that I wasn't expecting to be answered, like how Newman's powers worked. I think that reveal, among others, is really well done. However, it's great that the already existing characters are done justice and provide fun cameos, but this show succeeds on its own merits as well, and the biggest strength it has is that the characters are really solid. There's a good blend of characters and their unique powers, and I love how their powers are connected to their roles in the story, not just tools for combat that are kinda disconnected from who they are as people. For example, Marie's blood powers are kind of nasty and disgusting, and she absolutely feels disgusted with herself for what happened in her past. This power that now makes her so special and well liked is the same one that killed her parents and made her sister hate her, and you can see it's taken her some time to accept it. Kate can control other people's minds, wipe them clean, manipulate them, yet she herself has been controlled and manipulated by Shetty for so much of her life. Andre's powers are the same as his dad's, who he has a strained relationship with, but they're still connected through this power and the family legacy. Emma's powers have led her to being used and abused by her mom, leading to a lot of her insecurities, and her freeing herself from her mother's grasp is powerful. I just love it when the powers in superhero stories are used to explore the emotional depth of the characters, and this also relates to the themes of the show, and how the show tackles real-world topics through the lens of superhero people. Jordan is a character that allows the show to explore themes of gender identity and accepting oneself, and it's because their powers allow them to shift between being a man and a woman. Their father not accepting them, but then finding acceptance through Marie and their friends in ways a new family is a story that I think many people out there can relate to, and it's a story told in a unique way through this interesting superhero narrative. Emma's powers rely on her either eating more to get bigger or throwing up to get smaller, and through the dynamic with her own mom and her own behavior, this show explores themes of eating disorders and perfectionism, and seeing Emma tackle her demons in this season is powerful stuff. There are also multiple characters that have experienced trauma and are struggling with the lasting effects. Marie, Kate, and especially Sam have all been through so much, and while they share feelings of guilt and shame, they also each deal with their trauma in different ways. I mean, Kate constantly searches for a deep connection to other people due to the neglect she's felt from her mom after accidentally sending her brother away, and she often ends up finding this comfort in Shetty, who manipulates her, and Sam is full-on psychotic at times with hallucinations and delusional beliefs after being locked up for so many years and being tortured and experimented on. Now, this show has a great premise. I mean, a superhero school, who doesn't like that? And it also has interesting characters to build this story off of. But having these in the bag doesn't always lead to a successful show. They also need to nail the execution, which which they certainly did, especially the first episode being phenomenal. I was very excited to see the route they were going with, and the first half of the episode had me thinking this was going to be like an anime-style race to the top in a superhero school type show, with of course some messed up and wacky stuff because it is the boys after all. But then the scene at the club happened, and I thought, yeah, okay, these people are all fucked. And then the ending happened with Golden Boy, and I thought, oh shit, this is not gonna go the way I thought. And so I stopped trying to predict the show and just let it take me for a ride. No, but in all seriousness, this is a very intriguing first episode. It does everything it needed to do. It sets up the main character's backstory and her motivation, it introduces the new setting and the new characters, giving just a hint of who they are and what their involvement in the story could be, and then it ends off with a what the fuck moment to leave us wanting more. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I think releasing the first 3 episodes and then releasing episodes weekly after that is a perfect solution to the whole binge versus weekly debate. Because while episodes coming out weekly prevents the rush to avoid spoilers and supports taking time to digest the episodes, releasing enough episodes right off the bat to get properly invested in the story is also very nice, because often having just one episode won't do enough to be truly invested. So yeah, I love the first 3 episodes and I've been intrigued all the way throughout, with the show really picking up some steam again towards the end here, and just batshit crazy superhero action. And I think Gen V also mostly nails the fight scenes, even though there aren't that many of them. One thing I like here compared to the boys is that there's more focus on the uniqueness of the powers being incorporated into fights rather than mostly being about strength and punching power. For example, Marie using blood as a whip, Jordan switching between her 2 forms to change her fighting style, Kate using her mind control to have others fight for her. Andre's powers are granted a little less interesting, but they still find ways to combine his powers and personality with the story. And Emma also has her whole smaller slash bigger situation going on. And when a character doesn't have any unique powers per se, for example Sam, who's just really powerful, they still find ways to make his fight scenes impactful and memorable. For example, when he sees visions of Luke during action, and especially the puppet fights. It was fun and exciting, and the moment you realize that this was all real and the puppets begging for their lives and mentioning their families before getting brutally killed were actually real people, after wondering the whole fight whether it was real or not, was a pretty shocking moment. Now, while the show is pretty great, there are some negatives that caught my attention. For one, the show does move quite fast at times, not really giving enough time for the story to breathe. The episode 5 climax was a bit rushed, from them confronting Rufus, to Emma calling and revealing Kate's secret, to Jordan not believing it, to Andre arriving and also not believing it, to Kate also appearing and revealing the truth, and then the episode ends, and all this happens within like 3 minutes, and it's a shame because I'm loving the plot of this show. I care mostly about these characters and how they deal with the plot, and slowing down some of these scenes a bit to explore the characters' reactions to the events happening would be really meaningful. However, they do often slow down a bit the episode after a big event to allow for some digestion. I just wish the pacing was slightly better at times, and this probably ties in with many of the episodes being on the shorter side of around 40 minutes. I definitely think they could have been just a little longer. I could of course also nitpick and say that at times the acting is a bit shallow and some of the fight scenes are less interesting than others, but mostly this show is great. However, I do have a couple small issues with the finale. Now, first of all, the finale was pretty great. It's overall a really satisfying ending to a good season of television. The tension was pretty high. I was invested and intrigued by how they'd wrap this up. I couldn't imagine everything just going back to the way it was and the school year continuing as normal next year. It felt like there was no going back for these characters, and while the actual climax of the episode was a bit out of the blue and relied once again on a blackout, just like earlier in the season, without too much context, I think the season has ended off in a good place, with the Guardians locked up in a secret room, Homelander, Kate, and Sam being seen as the heroes, and Billy Butcher showing up in that mid-credits scene. I'm very intrigued by what happens in Season 4 of The Boys and Season 2 of Gen V. There are also just some pretty awesome moments in this episode, like Sam arguing with Emma and seeing Luke and letting go of his feelings with the help of Kate. It was also fun seeing Ashley and the other executives being scared shitless. I thought this might have been it for Ashley, but of course it wasn't. She persists. Andre's scene with his dad was powerful, but also nuanced. Marie doing that awesome blood attack, blasting off Kate's arm and taking a fucking blast from Homelander was pretty cool. And yeah, Homelander's appearance, which was very short, was still in character, and it was great to see Anthony Starr back in this role. He's menacing and terrifying as always, and I can't wait to see more of him in Season 4. Like I said, the climax did feel a little rushed, and there was some pretty random moments like that Gangnam Style joke, which was really misplaced. It just didn't feel like the right time, and the Wilhelm scream was also a bit jarring in this tense scene, but these are of course nitpicks. Overall, I think Gen V is a perfectly fine addition to the boys universe. I'm giving it a solid 7 out of 10, but that's a good score to me, and I'm excited for more. But what do you think? Leave your thoughts on Gen V down in the comments, leave a like if you enjoyed, and check out my memberships. But other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe and peace out.